Hey fam, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Pastor Carolyn here, your pastor and purpose pusher of Tears to Breakthrough Ministries and T2B Global. Come on in the room, come on in the room. I want to invite you to our 5-day spiritual makeover starting today. Okay. When we do our 5-day spiritual makeovers, we always start with a 3-day fast. So this is day one of our fast. You are welcome to join us. Click on the QR code, go over to my link tree and register and join us. 5 days will change your life. 5 days will transform your life. Um, I want to tell you some things that are going to happen during the 5-day spiritual makeover. We're starting out with a 3-day fast, starting today. And it's okay if you didn't start the fast today, just as long as you do 3 consecutive days of a fast, you're good. So you don't have to catch up, okay? Just 3 consecutive days fasting, you're good, and you will get an email with all the instructions for the fast, okay? During this 5-day spiritual makeover, we're going to be doing it's our Queen Esther version, okay? Which means we know Queen Esther fasted for 3 days, okay? We know that Queen Esther saved her people from annihilation, right? And so we're going to be breaking through some generational patterns and cycles, amen, because God has called you too to save your people. Now, who are your people? Your people can be your family, your children, you know, your neighbors, generations. God has called us to change generations, right? So we're going to be breaking through some of those patterns and cycles. We're going to be doing daily affirmations. We're going to also do our healing bath and or shower. We're going to do the decluttering of the mind and environments and so much more. So you don't want to miss this 5-day spiritual makeover starting today. Yeah, so with that said, go to my link tree. You can click on the QR code or just click link in bio, go to my link tree, register, and I will see you in the inner court. Okay. But before I go, I had shared this a while ago in our private Facebook community, and I want to share it with you. It's called Becoming, because during this 5-day spiritual makeover, the goal is for you to become all that God has created you to become, for you to become all that God has created you to be. Amen. Right. And so I want to read this to you. And it will, listen, I just think it's powerful. So let me read that to you. Give me a second here to pull it up. So it was going to let me pull it up on my screen, but I guess not. But here we go. Let's see. Okay, and so it goes like this. It's a conversation that we're having with God. Okay, so during this 5-day spiritual makeover, we're going to be spending a lot of time with God. We're going to be spending a lot of time in His presence, because how many of you know that in order to break through anything in the natural, you have to first break it through in the spirit realm? Okay, so we're going to be spending a lot of time in prayer as well. Okay, so I want to share this with you. And it's a conversation, because we're going to have conversation with God, right? And it starts off like this: me, you. Goes like this: hey, God. This is God's response: hello, my love. Me, you. I'm falling apart. I'm simply falling apart. Can you put me back together again? God's response is, I would rather not. Me, you. Our response is, God's response is, because you are not a puzzle. Me, you. What about all of the pieces of my life that are falling down onto the ground? How many of you just feel like everything is just falling apart, right? And this is God's response to your response, to my response. God says, let them stay there for a while. They fell off for a season. Take some time and decide if you need any of those pieces back. Me, you, our response to God. You don't understand. I'm breaking down. How many of you just feel like you're breaking down, right? And here is God's response to you and to me. No, you don't understand. You are breaking through. So God is saying, no, you're not just breaking down, but you're breaking through. Say, I'm breaking through. I am breaking through. During this 5-day spiritual makeover, I am breaking through all of the things that were meant to break me. Say that way. During this 5-day spiritual makeover, I am breaking through all of the things that were meant to break me. Amen. Amen. So let's get back to it. It goes on to say, what you are feeling is just growing pains. This is God talking to you. He's talking to me. You are shedding the things and the people in your life that are holding you back. Relax, God says. During this 5-day spiritual makeover, relax. Take some deep breaths. How many know breathing is therapeutic? Take some deep breaths. God says, take my raw breath this morning. Take some deep breaths and allow those things you don't need anymore to fall off of you. During this 5-day spiritual makeover, those things that you no longer need, those things, those people, places, and things that no longer serve you will begin to fall off. Amen? Amen. So it goes on to say, let them go. Let them go. So this is my response and your response to God. Once I start doing that, what will be left of me? This is God's response. Only the very best pieces of you. This is our response to God. I'm scared of changing. How many of you are just afraid of changing? So many people are afraid of change. So our response is, God, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of change. And this is God's response to you and God's response to me. I keep telling you, you are not changing. You are becoming. Say, I am becoming. During this 5-day spiritual makeover, you are becoming. You're becoming everything that God created you to be. You're becoming all that God has called you to be. Say, I am becoming. I am becoming. During this 5-day spiritual makeover, I am becoming. And then we go back to God again in our responses. Becoming who? God's response to you, God's response to me. Becoming who I created you to be. A person of light and love and charity and hope and courage and joy and mercy and grace and compassion. God says, I made you for more than the shallow pieces you have decided to adorn yourself with, that you cling to with such greed and fear. God says, let those things fall off of you. God says, I love you. Don't change. Become. 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 Say, I am becoming. Become. During this 5-day spiritual makeover, I am becoming. God says, become who I made you to be. I'm going to keep telling you this until you remember it. That part right there. God says, I'm going to keep telling you this until you remember it. Here's our response to God. There goes another piece. There's pieces. You just feel like pieces are just falling off of you. You're just losing yourself. Feel like you're losing yourself. You just feel like pieces of you are just falling. And here's God's response. Yep, let it be. Here's our response to God. So I'm not broken. Here's God's response. No. But you are breaking like the dawn. It's a new day. Become. Are you ready to become? Are you ready to become all that God has created you to be? Are you ready to become all that God has called you to be? Join our 5-day spiritual makeover. It will change your life. It's time to become. It's time to be all that God has called you to be and all that God has created you to be. It's time to become. Say, it's time for me to become. It's time to break through. It's time to shed off all that old stuff, get rid of all that dead weight. It's time for you to take this 5-day spiritual makeover. It's time to break through and break out. Listen, I'll see you in the inner court. Click on the link in bio, my link tree, or scan the QR code and go scroll down to the 5-day spiritual makeover and join us. I'll see you in the inner court. Have a good day.